Alright guys, so we're moving on to multiplying with fractions. Sorry, I didn't get this up over the weekend. It's been a crazy weekend for Miss Fernley. So we are going to cover a couple of lessons of notes. That way we don't have to do notes this week. We just go ahead and practice how to multiply with fractions. So notes are going to be a little longer than usual. Our central question is, how do I multiply fractions with whole numbers, mixed numbers, and other fractions? There is one vocabulary word that you need to know, and that's commutative property. And commutative property we've talked about a few times. That's when you can flip around a multiplication sentence and it would still get the same answer. So commutative property says that factors, okay, those are the what's being multiplied by each other, in a multiplication sentence or expression. Okay, so in a multiplication expression can be put in any order. So for example, 3 times 5 is going to have the same answer as 5 times 3. Doesn't matter which number goes first. All right, first thing we're going to work on is to multiply fractions and whole numbers. All right, so let's say I had 2 times 2/5. So I have one part of it's a fraction, one part of it's a whole number. All right, so remembering what I know about whole numbers is that the whole numbers are always over 1. So the first thing I'm going to do is put the whole number into a fraction. By putting it over 1. Okay, so now I've got 2 over 1 times 2/5. Now I'm comparing apples to apples. So both are fractions. Then step 2, I'm just going to multiply across. So I'm going to multiply the numerators. And then step 3, I'm going to multiply the denominators. And it should look like this. So I've got 2 times 2 over 1 times 5. So 2 times 2 gives me 4, 1 times 5 gives me 5. And then I would simplify if needed. In this case, 4 and 5 can't be simplified down any further than they already are. So my answer then to 2 times 2/5 is 4/5. Okay, the next one I'm going to do is to multiply fractions by fractions. So let's draw our lines. Okay, the steps are pretty much the same as multiplying fractions by whole numbers, except for obviously I don't have to put the whole number over a 1, so I can get rid of step number 1. So let's say I had 1/2 times 3/4. So first thing I'm going to do is multiply the numerators. Then multiply the denominators. So I have 1 times 3 over 2 times 4, which gives me 3/8. And then, like everything we do with fractions, simplify if necessary. And that's that for multiplying fractions by fractions. And multiplying mixed numbers by fractions is very similar as well. All right, so let's say I had 3 1/4 times 1/5. So 3 1/4 times 1/5. So here I'm not comparing apples to apples, so I'm going to have to do something with this mixed number in order to make it into a complete fraction. So the first thing I'm going to do is going to convert the mixed number to an improper fraction. And remember, an improper fraction has a bigger numerator. To do that, we remember I have 3 1/4. I'm going to multiply denominator by the whole number and then add the numerator. So 3 times 4 plus 1, and that's going to go over my denominator. 3 times 4 is 12 plus 1 is 13. So now I have 13/4. Second step is to multiply the numerators. That doesn't change. And then multiply the denominators. So I have 13/4 times 1/5. So 13 times 1 is 13. 4 times 5 is 20. And then since I'm multiplying a mixed number by a fraction, my answer almost all the time would be a fraction. So I would simplify if necessary. If you ever do have a whole number or an improper fraction as your answer, you would have to flip it over and make it a mixed number. So you would simplify if necessary or make it a mixed number by dividing the numerator by the denominator. All right, that is all for the steps. Let's do some practice problems. All right, first problem would be 3 times 2/5. So step 1, I need to make this whole number into a fraction by putting it over 1. Then I can multiply 3 times 2 over 1 times 5. Multiply the numerators, multiply the denominators. 3 times 2 is 6. 5 times 1 is 5. Okay, see, this is where I have an improper fraction. It's one of those instances. So since I can't simplify 6/5, I'm going to make it into a mixed number by dividing my numerator by my denominator. 5 will go into 6 one time. Okay, so I don't want a decimal here, but here's my fraction. So I have my whole number. This is my numerator. This is my denominator. So I have 1 1/5 is my answer. All right, let's try another problem. Uh, 3/8 times 2/4. So I just put 3/8 times 2/4. I'm going to multiply my numerators, multiply my denominators. So 3 times 2 is 6, 8 times 4 is 32. I can simplify that. So my step 3 or 4 would be simplify. 6 and 32 can both be divided by 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 32 divided by 2 is 16. And I can't make that any smaller, so it's 3/16. And last one, let's do a mixed number. So 3 1/4 times 2/5. So first step, I need to convert 3 1/4 into an improper fraction. It says a plus sign, sorry. Let's erase that. It's going to drive me crazy. Okay, so 3 times 4 plus 1 over 4. So that's 13/4. And then I'm going to multiply 13/4 times 2/5. 13 times 2 is 26. 4 times 5 is 20. So I also have another improper fraction. So I got to divide. 20 can go into 26 one time. So I have 1 and 6/20, which I can make smaller. So my answer is 1 and 3/10. All right, you guys can go ahead and get on and do the knowledge check. And sorry that you only have today to do it. But so my bad. You still love me, I hope. Have a good night.